Hello everybody, this is Gregory with how I lost over 100 pounds and have kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitance in your weight loss and in your weight maintenance. Today we're going to posit the question of whether or not you should actually have a doctor in your life. Now before we begin, if you need help with weight loss, especially from the psychological point of view, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, 100poundsoffor30years.com. There's a link in the episode notes. My two books, my podcast, The Awakened Man since 2017. And lastly, if you appreciate my content, there is a link for PayPal. All right, now this might seem like a strange question, but we do live in a time where a lot of people don't have a primary doctor or family doctor for a variety of reasons. If you look at younger people, people in their 20s, I mean, honestly, they're never sick, or they're not that sick or sick that often. And maybe they just don't want to bother with the annual checkups or so forth. And they're like, okay, well, if I get sick, I'll go to urgent care. Since the proliferation of urgent cares, this is kind of a way that a lot of people get treated. So they never go to a doctor that is kind of tracking their health. And in full disclosure, I didn't have a family doctor. And maybe by name I had a family doctor, but most of my 20s, I was living either in Alaska or Austin, Texas, or Houston, Texas, or San Antonio, Texas, or various places. So it wasn't like a priority for me to get a family doctor because I was in my 20s and healthy. I didn't really see a point. As you get older, there is typically more of a need to have a doctor. But even then, if you look, and we talk about this at The Awakened Man, especially the first couple hundred episodes, we look askance at allopathic medicine, the typical doctor medicine. And the average doctor visit is like 9 minutes. They'll check your vital signs. And then if you go, you go in, let's say you have a symptom, you go in, they check your vitals, and then the visit's 9 minutes, and typically it results in you getting a prescription. And sometimes the prescription might cure you of something, let's say you have a bacterial infection. But there are problems with antibiotics. Go to the episode we have on your microbiome and how antibiotics destroy your microbiome for 2 years minimum, just wipe out all your good bacteria. Or they might give you drugs that might just mask the problems. And then they'll just give you some platitudes. Oh, lose weight, lower your blood pressure. Here are drugs to lower your blood pressure because heaven forbid we can do it naturally. And then that's it. So it's almost like it just reinforces the horrific pop a pill, quick fix mentality that we have in America where it's all drug related. Now, should you have a doctor? I would say, look, if you're watching these videos, chances are you're overweight. I really doubt you're watching these videos because you just think I'm so charming. And so if you are overweight, yeah, you do need to have a doctor because obesity, not to use a fancy word, is concomitant with other diseases. So like the metabolic syndrome. So as a whole, when you're overweight, you have a much higher rate of having diabetes, type 2 diabetes. You also have a much higher rate of hyperlipidemia, which is high cholesterol, and hypertension, which is high blood pressure. Not to mention osteoarthritis, joint pain, because all the weight you're putting on the bones. And then complications with your kidneys, with your liver, with your heart, of course, cardiovascular problems, and so forth. So you might be overweight at 27 and maybe not manifesting these symptoms. You're probably pre-diabetic, if not diabetic, though, if you are overweight, really overweight, in 27. So these are things where you should be monitored. If you're healthy and regular weighted and have never had surgeries or never been diagnosed with something in your 40, 41, I would tell you that you need it less. I would tell you that it's still good to have a family doctor on the books just in case you do have something, and then you can call them and they'll tell you that it's going to take 6 months for you to get in. And then again, it's going to be the whole thing. Let's do blood work and just give you a prescription drug. So I certainly understand why a lot of people are like, I don't really want to deal with the family doctor because I can just go to an urgent care if something happens. But look, urgent cares can give you stitches. They can maybe fix a broken bone or at least immobilize it till you go to a specialist. They can certainly treat for strep throat or things like that. But they're not tracking you long term. So since you're overweight and you do have a higher rate of comorbidity or having other diseases, it does behoove you to go to a doctor who knows you and who is tracking you, because they'll be the ones tracking your blood sugar, for example, and tracking your liver markers and tracking your whatever other things that you have, your white blood count, your CBC count, all these other things, your testosterone, all these things are important, your vitamin D levels. And so it would make sense for you to have a family doctor, especially if you're overweight. So yes, you should have a family doctor that you go to at least once a year. And yes, a lot of these guys are just like, they'll tell you to lose weight, but they know you're not going to lose weight necessarily. And they'll kind of give you the platitudes that they give, but they are tracking stuff. So when you go in the next time, like, well, last year your A1G or your, what's the blood marker for diabetes? I think it's your A1G. Is this, now it's this, or your blood sugar was this, now it's this, or your chromatin is this and now it's this, or whatever it is. And certainly they can be tracking for cancer, see if there's a drop in your white blood cell count or any tumor markers that might be showing up. And we know there is a correlation between a high sugar diet and cancer. So yeah, you should be going to a family doctor if you're overweight, absolutely. Guys, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.